Welcome, everyone. It looks like we have people from Chicago, Los Angeles. Michelle, I hope you're safe with the fires. Canada, we've got, hi, Nicole. Glad you were able to join us. Rochester, Fargo, Worcester, Minneapolis, Miami, Charleston. Oh, we got another Canada. Oh, a few Canada. A lot of Canada. Nebraska. So exciting. Thank you all for coming. That's amazing. So we are going ahead and going to get started. I'm going to do a little intro and then we will share our screen and do a PowerPoint presentation. So in advance, I apologize if I have issues with the PowerPoint. So just let me know in the chat if there's anything that gets weird with the PowerPoint. My name is Mercedes Gamore. I am the NAWIC National DEI Chair this year. I'm really excited to have you all here. This is the first event and kind of kickoff event for our brand new LGBTQIA+ community resource group. So just to give you a little background on why this came to be, I am not a part of the community, but I live in the Seattle area. I'm part of the Puget Sound chapter, and we really wanted to make sure that we were supporting all of our members. So Puget Sound has done a lot over the last couple of years to support our members, but we weren't really seeing that at a national level. So when I moved into the national role, Kelly Ost, our president, asked me to create goals that were meaningful to me. And something that I really wanted to create was a way for us to support the community members we have within NAWIC or within the AEC industry. So this webinar really marks the beginning of this journey for us, where we can come together to shape a more inclusive and equitable future. Although I'm not a part of the community, we have the same goals. We want to build a safe and inclusive place where people of all genders, sexual orientations, races, backgrounds, experiences can show up and be authentic every day. So we're excited for this. A couple of other things that we're hoping to get started. If you've been a part of the national committee, you've heard of Brave Talks, which are Be Real, authentic, vulnerable, and empowered. So we're hoping to have specific Brave Talks quarterly for this group. We are in the process of setting up an allyship workshop. So maybe you're like me, where you're not a part of the community, but you want to be an ally and show up and figure out how you can show up. We will be having a webinar, hopefully a webinar series about that later this year. Look out for a survey from the National Committee, talking kind of just about what we want to do in the year and then how you can get engaged and involved. And that will have a couple of questions related to this group as well. And we're ambitious, but maybe we will start a social media series this year. If not, it will be next year, and it will be highlighting success stories and celebrating progress in the industry for this community. So lots going on. If you're interested, at the end of this, I will put our link to our DEI committee interest form, and you are welcome to join our committee. You're welcome to sit in. We have our next committee meeting is January 27th. It is on the national website, so if you're interested, there's a Zoom link there. Join us for that. We'll provide updates on all of the work that our DEI committee is doing. So with that, I am going to try to share my screen. So let me know if this works.
Yes, it worked.
Perfect. Alrighty.
Okay, so we'll get started here. Thank you for that introduction, Mercedes. And I know that we are very excited about what you're doing with NAWIC, with this community committee and the resource group. And hopefully we have some good things to share with everybody today. So make sure that you have your phone handy, because throughout the presentation, there are QR codes where we're going to ask for your feedback, but also there are going to be QR codes where you can get links to lots of great organizations that you can learn more about. So Jackie, would you like to start us off by introducing yourself?
Absolutely. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jacqueline Pruitt. I'm president and CEO of Marvella Steel Placers. We specialize in furnishing and installing reinforcing steel for concrete structures. I'm also an associate here to represent for Build It.
Tracy?
Hey, hey everybody. I'm Tracy Pazzarella. I'm a senior project manager here in New York City for Gilbane Building Company. I'm also on the board of Build Out Alliance, which we'll be talking about shortly. And I'm also a part of running their events, and I've been involved since 2020.
Great. Nassim?
Hi, folks. My name is Nassim Adeli. My pronouns are she, her, they, them. I'm with AGC of California, so the Associated General Contractors of California, and I'm the Industry Advancement Manager there. And what we do as my title, I really work on the workforce development team here at AGC. And some of the things that we focus on is lifting up small underrepresented businesses. I saw someone in the chat ask if anyone here is a DBE. There certainly is on the panel, and I'm sure in the audience as well. So definitely glad that question was brought up. We really like to kind of lead the conversations to talk about creating impact and change in the industry, how to foster a culture of belonging, safety for everyone, including the LGBTQI community. And really quickly, for those of you that don't know, AGC of California is we're the California chapter of the Associated General Contractors of America. So we serve statewide from the Northern California border to the San Diego border. San Diego is their own chapter. And we work with members from across the state, so large, small, mid-sized contractors to strengthen our industry and the state. And DBE stands for Disadvantaged Business Enterprise.
Well, that was really good off the cuff seeing that chat. Michelle?
I'm Michelle Stoffel. I'm a journeyman electrician with IBEW Local 340. I'm also currently the president of our women's committee. We are also open our women's committee to the LGBTQ plus community.
Great. And I'm working on the same project as Michelle. My name is Debbie Hertz. I'm a senior project manager at Gilbane in Northern California. My pronouns are she, her. I am one of the original founders of Gilbane's Pride Employee Resource Group, and I currently serve as the national co-president. I also represent Gilbane as a founder of Build It, which you're about to hear a lot more about. Next slide. So this is our roadmap of what we're going to talk about today. You can all read, but I'll do it quickly. We're going to talk about partnerships. There's a number of organizations on this call that have partnerships that help amplify queer voices. How your own company processes and policies can help or hinder inclusion, how resource groups can help create that safe environment. And then we're going to briefly talk about some progress that's been made, but then really try to give you actionable things that you can take away from this to improve the culture on your office or your job sites. Next slide. So here's our first Menti quiz. If you can get your phones out, we would like to know what, if anything, you know about the organization Build It. And we'll give it a minute. Fast fingers.
I also dropped the link in the chat, and you can go ahead and click on that, and you'll see the code at the top there, 11241065. You can punch that in if you don't have your phone available.
Great, thanks, Nassim. That's good thinking. Okay, so as the responses come in, I see that the majority of people are saying 24, all of the above, and that is correct. So if we can go to the next slide. Jackie, can you talk to us about Build It?
Turn my little mic on.
Okay, great.
All right. So as the slide states, Build It is the world's first and largest LGBT industry association association dedicated to the sustainable growth of LGBT owned and certified businesses like my own, and our allies in the fields of architecture, engineering, construction services, real estate development, and related industries. Build It has engaged with exactly 8,238 businesses, professionals, design construction industry leaders, public agency leaders, and influencers around the globe. The 8,238 figure is third-party validated. Build It also has an annual Founders Day Gala, and this year it'll be May 29, 2025 in Los Angeles. We stand in solidarity and support of our brothers and sisters who have been impacted by horrific wildfires in Los Angeles, and which several Build It associates have been directly impacted. Prayers go to them. Next slide. As you can see, these are the demographics at which Build It has made an impression on. That's West Coast, North America, global. And next slide. And as California goes, there's 7,018 Build It weekly engagements. As the slide states, that is third-party validated. So Build It is really touching the industry in many different ways. I can tell you about my experience with Build It. I went to a small business event about 3 years ago and walked in and saw a rainbow on flyers, and was confused because all my years in the trade and in the industry, I've seen a rainbow flag on a hard hat or two. I met Paul Pendergrass, one of the founders and sponsors for that event, and he spoke about the organization. And I made it my priority to introduce myself to him after him speaking. Almost in tears, I told him how grateful I am to have met him and that we are out here. And now we have representation. Since then, Build It has changed. Build It has changed. I'm getting emotional because it's like really, it's really awesome to have been in the industry for 16 years. And, I've had a couple of two guys, in quiet and secret tell me, that they are, they're gay, and they were able to open up to me because, I'm openly gay. But anyways, since then, Build It has blessed me with the President Award, which is presented at the yearly gala. Introduced me to Anj of Leader Sauce, who is an executive coach and has helped me grow as a CEO. Also, there's Andrew of Logic, with whom a solid business and friendship has formed. And Melinda with Speak and Flow. She's working with me and talking. As you can see, I'm a lot better than I used to be. All of these resources have helped me tremendously with speaking in public. And the most important one, as you see on the screen, Build It and the Golden Pitch. The Golden Pitch is the best thing since sliced bread. This has allowed for me to meet industry leaders, contractors, owners, and many other people, and be able to pitch my company to them. So it's like a free marketing service.
That's great, Jackie. And I first actually learned about Marvella Steel Placers by attending one of the Golden Pitch sessions. And when you go to the Build It website, you can actually see those old presentations. So if you're looking for new firms who are LGBTQ+, you can go to that website and find that information. Thank you for sharing your stories. Can we have the next slide? Naseem, can you talk about the partnership between AGC and Build It?
Absolutely, yes, thank you. So in 2021, AGC and Build It were able to form a official partnership to really strengthen the industry. So coming down to associations, for many of you at NAWIC, for example, you know that associations are key to thriving industries, especially an industry as old and important as construction. And I think that's just an example right there alone. California has so many associations just for construction because it is so, it's proven to create success, strengthen, and provide resources throughout. So that's something that folks can all agree on for the most part. And partnerships, however, it's a way to really leverage those associations and all of the resources, individuals, strength that each association have. You can come together and really, really create actual impressionable change. So as these partnerships are created, our industry is able to be successful. We are able to enhance collaboration and innovation with different mindsets and backgrounds. We're able to increase network opportunity. So you'll see more NAWIC folks at an AGC event. You'll see AGC folks at a NAWIC event. And that cross collaboration really, really allows for more opportunities, more success. And we will be able to continue to move that our industry forwards, upwards, in the correct direction to be able to continue to retain the people that we need in the industry. And so when it comes to amplifying queer voices and queer businesses, or LGBT certified businesses, this partnership specifically between Build It and AGC of California is essential to the industry. Not only does this partnership work together to actively promote construction careers to the next generation of California, which is going to include a large percent of openly queer individuals, but it also helps connect AGC members, which we have almost 1,000 members statewide, with LGBT-owned certified firms and allies. And we also will, with this partnership, can continue to promote a safe, inclusive future within the industry.
Right. I think, Nassim, part of the reason why this felt so historical when it happened was construction isn't viewed as a particularly welcoming industry for the LGBT community. So when such a large organization like AGC of California stands up and says, we're partnering with this group, it sends a very powerful message.
Absolutely.
Okay, next slide. Tracy, tell us about Build Out Alliance, your involvement, and all the great stuff that they do.
I'll try. I tried to write it down, but I'm just going to talk to y'all. Build Out Alliance was started in 2017 here in New York City to when a group of designers and construction individuals got together and said, hey, you know, we don't really have a networking group for gay people in our industry. And their primary goal in the beginning was, hey, you know, we want to promote inclusion in the construction and design industry. And, you know, I mean, design, you would always think that, hey, that might be further ahead than everybody else. And it is, and construction is coming up behind it. But you never realize how much something is needed until it hits. And, you know, what Build Out Alliance focuses in on is not just helping with the company to understand and help them work on inclusion for their employees, supporting, hey, how do I start an ERG, which is an employee resource group, or maybe if a company is not willing to do an ERG, that we're supporting individuals. And it's a place for people to come. We hold events monthly, various events, could be social events or professional programming events, and supporting that. Now, when I started, it was COVID and I was on a panel, and you got a lot more reach out there because we were all online. Mm-hmm. And then you saw a need for people to interact with Build Out. I believe Debbie, you were one of them that would get on our events. Mm-hmm. All over the country. So we're trying to support the individuals that might not necessarily have that around, and talk about professions and understand what companies out there do support us. You know, maybe there's something I could do. And if they won't do anything for me, at least I have somewhere to go and I have a resource. And by being a part of the organization, I was running their special events for the past 4 years, which are pillar events that happen throughout the year. You have a coming out party, you have a spring soiree, which I just started, and Pride. And what I noticed by doing these parties is I had a lot of straight people volunteer, particularly women. And, you know, I mean, we're welcoming everybody a part of it. It's not just the LGBT communities, allies were just important. But I said to them one night, I said, what attracts you to this? Out of all the organizations that you can volunteer for, why did you choose Build Out Alliance? And they said, well, we have a common battle. You know, we're going up against that patriarchal attitude towards us in the industry. And you know, it clicked on me how important it is, and why I was so excited to be a part of this panel, to be a part of NAWIC, because we all are trying to grow and get rid of all that static that we might have to deal with in our day-to-day jobs, to just be our professional selves and thrive. So, you know, Build Out has been successful in transferring that to other cities that want to form chapters. Now we're in California and San Francisco and LA. We just started Chicago. We're in DC. You know, people come to us and they say, hey, how do I start a chapter? You know, but even if an individual doesn't have a chapter near them, at least they have support. And it just drives me every day when I go into an event and I meet somebody who's very introverted, something, and they said, you know, I really don't come to these things, but I'm not out at work and I have nowhere to go. And it just, you know, no matter how tired you get, or you want to get on a Zoom call or the meeting call, it just is all so worth it. And it's so worth it for us to all connect together and cross-pollinate, you know what I mean? Like ACG and Build It are doing, and what Build Out Alliance wants to do with all of you is just really, you know, what can we do for each other? How can we help each other? It's all for the same cause.
That's true. And I would like to say that we're going to have the QR code for Build Out Alliance. Even if you just get on their mailing list, they're very good about saying all the programs they have going, and they're very clear if something's virtual. And oftentimes, like, we have busy schedules and maybe we don't live in Chicago. It's great to join one of those virtual events and see what they're all about. I highly suggest it. Any more to add, Tracy?
That's it. I want to give everybody else a chance to talk. I can go on all day.
Okay, and also, people, you should go to their website and see all the pictures of the awesome parades that Tracy has organized. Okay, so a new quiz question for everybody about the state of DEI work at your particular company.
For those that the QR code isn't working or you can't access, it's menti.com, EMNTI.com, using code 11241065.
Looks like we have a couple people who have responded to it. See if it works. Okay, it looks like maybe this question isn't resonating, or there's none of the above. That's a good point. We added that to one of the other questions. Probably should have added it to this. So if we want to go into the next slide, Nassim, can you handle this next slide?
Yeah, absolutely. It's still the Mentimeter. I don't know if we want to give folks a couple more minutes, as looks like there might have been some technical difficulties. So we'll just give it maybe 1 or 2 more minutes.
Okay.
But it looks like none of the above is something that folks do resonate with. I don't think it's updating. Okay.
I think that's,
Yeah, let's just go ahead and move on then. But
If you want to put in the chat, if you're open to it, you can put none of the above in the chat. There we go.
oh,
okay,
there
there
we
we go. Okay.
Beautiful, beautiful. So it looks like for the majority of us, we do have a DE&I plan and someone is accountable to it. Who is that person? Do you know? Maybe not. Is it just one person? Do they also wear other hats? You know, there's a lot more to dig in there, but I do see that some of y'all focus on compliance, and then I'm happy to see that 7 individuals did put that it's integrated into everything we do internally and externally. That is the goal, I think, all around. So that's great. Let's move to the next slide, which kind of talks about across the employee life cycle. So sometimes we know that when you want to create processes that emphasize equity, sometimes it's overwhelming and you just kind of start at one place. And I think the easiest place is recruiting and hiring. However, it's important to look at all stages of an employee cycle rather than just right when they enter, because what happens is you create what looks like an equitable hiring process. They join your company and find that the culture doesn't match that process, or that there just isn't consistent opportunity across the life cycle. So that's why this graph we have on the screen here shows that if you, throughout the process from engaging folks to become trained in leadership to allowing space for safe, anonymous feedback, and actually taking that feedback with the consultant, implementing it in ways that can actually make change, is a super important way to continue to recheck your organization. And again, this isn't a one and done thing. And something that is really important is that the more people with different backgrounds and different skills and different I would say professions. So getting a consultant outside of the construction field to come in and help look at that will help take away any biases that you would have otherwise if it was just an internal process with 1 or 2 people from the executive team just going in and making sure everything is equitable and fair. So I think that's why this is a really good way to show that through the cycle, if an employee reaches any of these phases and finds that they're not being met with opportunity or challenge or things like that, they will leave the company and find something that matches their culture better.
Okay, next slide. And can you talk about why it's important to have this inclusivity in the workforce?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So just some stats on the screen here is that 7.6% of US adults identify as LGBTQ+. So that's 7.6% of folks that identify as lesbian, gay, transgender, questioning, intersex plus. And since 2012, that's a 100% plus increase of folks that have identified. Now we know that's just folks that are openly stating that. And so looking at that, 1 in 5 of Gen Z adults identify as LGBTQ plus. And when we take all that into consideration, we know that the next generations will likely be increasing at higher rates as well. And I guess one way to look at that is what does that mean? What does that mean for us? And it means that our future generation is trending to identify more outwardly, openly, and one could say safely as LGBTQ plus. And that generation will be entering our workforce. Gen Z already is. Gen Alpha will be not too far behind. And with each new generation, these more folks that identify as LGBTIA, firstly, they're not just appearing out of nowhere, right? They're not just suddenly being born gay more often, right? It's just that there is more representation, there's more processes and regulations in place that will protect queer people, proving that or showing, signaling that their value and their lives are also important and worth protecting. There's just more media around gay stories, gay identities, LGBT identities, and more folks in leadership roles, more CEOs, things like that. And when you see those things as a young person growing into yourself, you'll feel safer and more willing to accept yourself and live authentically. So that's why we're seeing an increase in out LGBTQIA people.
Okay, so we've got another poll here for you, and this has to do with employee resource groups and policies that your company might have related to LGBTQ. And again, the code is 11241065 at menti.com. Oh, I forgot this one was also supposed to have none of the above. Oh, it's interesting. It's almost exactly the same. Here we go. Okay. All that apply. So it looks like what we're seeing so far is that a number of companies do have employee resource groups. They may not have specific benefit guides, but they also do have social media campaigns, things like that. There wasn't none of the above in my first draft, but unfortunately didn't get that in, but I'm seeing some of you put none of the above. So we're running a little bit behind, so I'm just going to go to the next slide. I'm going to talk really fast, and there's a lot of information on the slides that you can read. So I was there to help start the Pride ERG, and we started very small. We had a small group of people. We had no idea how it was going to be received. The key things we wanted to do was promote visibility and provide inclusivity. So the visibility component of it was consciously celebrating Pride and National Coming Out Day in the offices, typically with treats in the office, some flags. We marched in the parade with Build Out Alliance in 2019 at World Pride, blasted that all over our GNet. The other thing that we did, because so many people are isolated around the country, is we had regular virtual meetings so we could meet people that were like-minded, because I was remote here in California and I didn't know any other LGBTQ people in the company. Next slide. Next slide. Okay. So in anticipation of this conversation, I did a survey to our Pride ERG members, and we actually asked them why they joined Pride. So as you can see on here, there's a lot of really good, interesting reasons why people join. Some people like me were just so excited to be in the construction industry and have an opportunity to join this group, and others are allies that wanted to learn more and be supportive. Next slide. So in our second year, we did an initiative where we had hard hat stickers, and the first hard hat stickers just said Gilbane Pride, and we had a photo contest, and the idea that we would use those things in marketing materials. And it was well received. However, we found that a number of our allies did not feel comfortable putting the hard hat sticker on. They felt like they were taking space in a community they didn't belong to. So we rolled out ally stickers, and now we see them everywhere. The other thing we did was create an allyship poster that we disseminated in Pride Month to be put up at the job site, so that people could have an understanding. A lot of people are curious, but they don't want to ask a dumb question or offend. Okay, next slide. As part of this survey, I asked, you can see on the screen, I asked about the impact of the Pride sticker. And the thing that most resonated to me was that a score of 4.9 out of 5 on the question, I feel safe on a job site when I see others with Pride or Pride ally stickers on the hard hat or their desk. And that's very powerful to me. A very small thing can make somebody feel safe. And I know this because my wife historically is always in the ER, and I'm old, so there was a time where they could kick me out. But if I came in and the nurse or the doctor had a little rainbow pin on their lanyard, I knew I was not going to have that argument with them, and I felt safe. And I feel like wearing my sticker on the job site helps promote that as well. Next slide. Okay, so we're still building, we're still growing. The majority of our members are allies, but we have regional leaders. We've done 2 company-wide allyship programs, webinars that were very well received. We have a mentorship program. But the other thing that's happening is people feel empowered to join outside community LGBTQ organizations. Tracy with Build Out Alliance. I never would have reached out to Build It in 2020 to say, hey, I'm interested, if Gilbane did not have this ERG, if my company had not already signaled to me that they would be supportive of Gilbane supporting that organization. Next slide. And then one of the other things I asked in the survey was if people felt more comfortable coming out. And people generally did feel more comfortable coming out since the ERG started. But we also saw that allies felt more comfortable sharing that they had LGBTQ family members. Maybe that was something they were keeping closeted. And everybody wants to talk about their life and their family. And now we've got more straight allies who are able to do that. And then finally, in terms of the business case of why would you want a Pride ERG? All we talk about is a shortage of workers in this country, right? We need to attract and retain people. And there are people who chose to join Gilbane specifically because we had a Pride ERG, specifically because we had great benefits, or people who decided to stay because of the Pride ERG. So if you're trying to make this case to your company, you can say, hey, we might be missing out on the best and the brightest because we don't have a support group. And I will now go to the next slide. Naseem will talk.
Yes. Thank you, Debbie. Love the ERG story and the comfort coming out. So for this slide, I'll speak quickly as well. So many of our members have implemented policies and trainings to help their employees gain a better understanding of culture, including leadership support and informative sessions on LGBTQ+, as well as other identities in the workplace. So you'll see on the screen, one of our members, Dome Construction, they host a gender pride and pronouns lunch and learn. It's not mandatory, but free lunch always brings people to the room, I'm sure, and they're able to have an open conversation about gender pride and pronouns, and they create a safe space for folks to be able to ask questions without that fear of asking the wrong question and judgment. They also, and there's also implementation. If there's a list right here, employee handbook, etc. All these things are designed to implement trainings throughout the year and the employment cycle for folks to continue to get that training and education needed to be equitable leaders and keep these groups like LGBTQ+ and other underserved groups in mind when creating opportunities within or outside of the company.
Great. Next slide. So when we first started the ERG in 2018, one of our main goals was to receive a top score on the Human Rights Campaign Corporate Equality Index. But when we looked into it, we actually found that we did not have policies that would support getting a high score. So rather than abandon the pursuit, senior leaders in the company actually bought in and changed and improved our benefits. So we now have family formation benefits, regardless of gender marital status. We have fantastic trans-inclusive healthcare benefits. We have a specific LGBTQ benefit guide, and we have robust mental health services. And Michelle, can you talk about some of the mental health services from the union?
Yeah, I was recently made aware of the high suicide rates in construction, about 53.3 construction workers out of every 100,000. According to PBS, 41% of LGBTQ youth have considered suicide. To me, that stresses the importance of a place we can meet and availability to meet with those going through the hard times. Our union gives us access to 3 free sessions with a therapist and has other resources. Also, they have, I kind of threw my name in the hat. And when we've had people call the hall, we've literally had one of our trans sisters call the hall having a mental health issue, and they gave her my phone number after asking me, and I'm like, give it to anyone that asks. And since then, I've been able to reach out and be the place for her to have some, help.
Great. We've got another quiz for you on the next one. Right. How you feel at the job site. You want to address this and then we'll go to the next slide.
Yeah. That's awesome. That generally, yes, is safe. For me personally, it would depend on my team. I'm in the field, so the field can get a little bit rough and tough sometimes. And especially like, as I've opened up for allyship towards our, LGBTQ plus members, I've noticed that it's a little bit harder for our men on our job sites than it can be for me. Like, and so it really depends on the team. So what I learned is, allyship is the huge difference. I found allies across our union on different job sites and different places. So when I'm not on your job site, I can reach to somebody there that could be, their safe space to go, that would stand up for them. I'm sorry.
Keep going.
Oh, and we had my union also like made a big step towards like, opening up. They let me do a pride. Like, so I did a first time we had our business agent, a bunch of allies, our office people actually marched with us for gay pride. And that was a big step. So it actually opened it up to everyone that was kind of watching from the outside. And then I started having more and more members coming to me. Well, my child is gay. Well, my this is they. And like coming to me like, I'm not an ambassador to the gay community, but I can reach you to the right, to the right direction of respect, of like, how to, have open conversation, respectful conversation and stuff, and asking them. And so it's been really great that I've become like more of a resource that even people that are like, okay, it's in my family, now what? And they're like, I don't know who to talk to that won't judge me or put me down or anything. And I could be that person to talk to. And it's been great, watching that grow in our union.
And then one of the other things that Michelle did, not only did she march in Sacramento Pride, but she had a table at the festival for 2 days, actively recruiting.
Right. Yeah, I had a bunch of members also manning that booth. Some were straight, some were gay, and like we just were actively recruiting at our Gay Pride, showing them that like we had people coming. I've never even considered the construction industry, and I'm like, well, if we can do it, you can definitely do it. So it's like showing them, being present, showing them like, hey, we are here and we do have the right to make this type of living. And it's been great because I've had people on the job site that recognize me that are like, I'm here because you told me about it. And I'm like, that just happened on this job site we're at. And I was like, that's freaking awesome. So it's been great.
So can you tell me about the picture?
In this picture, this is the job site that we're working on right now. It's RBR here in Sacramento, downtown Sacramento. And Turner actually is the general contractor, and they did a whole allyship and Pride for Pride Month, which was really cool. Like they got us, like they handed out like stickers. This is like some of the stickers we put on our hard hats. This is the Build It, and this is IBW one. And we handed out like stickers, and we had a lot of people like actually wearing them. It was really awesome. And that's like showing people that it's a safe place and it's inclusive and it's Pride Month. And you have a big company doing a morning huddle and actually saying, hey, it's Pride Month. And I got to go, if anyone wants to march with us, you're more than welcome. It's been great. I even had members come because their kids were out, and then their kids marched with us. And like, how awesome would that be? Like, if you like, I'm putting myself in those shoes as, someone in the community, and my parents work, it's taking me to go march in Pride. Like that is just like, tops.
They also got their cool points for that.
Yeah.
Okay, next slide. I think Jackie, you were gonna address the first bullet point.
Yep. So this is the industry progress. as of last year, and it will continue to rise. In 2024, the CPUC goal of 1.5% LGBTQ plus firms awarded contracts by California energy, water, transportation, and telecommunication firms.
Great. And then I believe you mentioned yesterday in our rehearsal that there are a couple counties in Los Angeles or big districts that are now also having goals for hiring LGBTQ plus firms.
Yes, I have, so I'm a subcontractor and I get contracts, and I, make it a thing to ask my general contractor for their contract with the owner. And some of them do, put all of the information from the owner, some of them don't, but I'm finding in Los Angeles, Community College District, they do have it's not a requirement, it's a recommendation or suggestion of I believe it's 8% LGBT firms to be participating on those projects.
That's great to hear. Couple other I hope you clicked through those slides. You saw at the bottom, there's a couple LGBTQ specific career fairs. If you're not aware of them and your company has never attended, check them out. I went to one this year. It was amazing. So we're going to talk very quickly about improvement or progress that we've seen on the job for LGBTQ plus. Tracy, did you want to share something?
Yeah, the first company that I worked for when I was a superintendent, I walked into a very toxic environment, hostile towards women, hostile towards everybody, actually. And, somebody had said to me, hey, you need to find a company that has good culture. And I didn't know what that meant. I was like, what are you talking about? Like construction has culture? And I sought out and I found Gilbane. And going into Gilbane and working for Gilbane, I'm now a project manager. To have a company stand behind you, you see, managers set the tone. The good thing about like being a superintendent or being a project manager or owner of company manager, you set the tone for the environment. And for construction to be notoriously toxic and people thinking that it needs to continue that way because that's how you behave and that's how you survive. And if you don't do that, you might be looked at as weak. It's not true. And we could totally take that out. One of the things that I first did when I ran my first superintendent project is I rewrote the rules. And one of the things that I put in there is that you will be thrown off the job if you catcall at lunchtime outside, because I wanted everybody to feel safe. I wanted every woman or person that walked by my job site to feel safe. So it's pretty empowering to know that we have the ability to do that. And that's how we've been making changes. And it's great to have support if you work for a company that is right there behind you. But it's a mindset and it definitely can happen.
Great. Michelle, have you noticed any positive improvements for the LGBTQ?
Yeah, I've been working in the field, has its ups and downs. So it's, I've been so grateful. I have people, allies and other like women who've helped build me up. Programs offered through like my union has like sent me to different seminars and helped me encourage personal growth, allowed me to move forward in more inclusive spot in workplaces and stuff. So
great. So now we're going to get to, we promised you actionable things you can do. So this page is all the pretty easy stuff. So Tracy, can you talk us through the first one?
So I grew up in Long Island, and one of the things that, well, Long Island and North Carolina, one of the things that we always say is, you guys, what are you doing today? You guys come here, or something like that. And down south, notoriously, you say y'all. And when I started to get involved with Build Out Alliance and talking about pronouns, and really bringing that to a conscious state, I started to change the language of saying you guys, because it would come out naturally, but y'all is inclusive of everybody. So I think it's like, it is one of the safest words that you could do because it's all inclusive, right? And simple things like that make a big difference to people. So, you know, you don't run into, you know, they didn't tell me their pronouns. Well, how should I refer to everybody, you know?
Right.
But that's something that I found works for me.
Great. That's a good segue. Nassim, do you want to talk about the importance of sharing your pronouns?
Absolutely, yes, and I'll do my best to keep it quick. So I think normalizing pronoun sharing is a really great way to signal a few things. One, it signals that you are an ally. You support the transgender and non-binary community by sharing your pronouns. It also avoids any miscommunication. Some people's names are gender neutral. I can't tell you the amount of times people have referred to me as Mr. Adeli or something because my name is gender neutral. So that's also just a universal great thing to avoid. It also avoids assumption. Just because an individual looks, dresses, presents some way doesn't mean that their identity matches what they look like. So some example I love to use is if you see someone crossing the street from far away with a hood on and you want to talk about them, you would say, I love their hoodie. You wouldn't say, I love her hoodie because you don't know who that person is. They could be anyone. So those are just some really important ways to some important reasons why sharing your pronouns is great. One trick is to just put it in your email signature. Whenever I see someone's email signature, including their pronouns, I immediately feel that they're a safer person for me.
Great. And you want to address being the ally of the room?
It's good to be an ally in the room and state it when even people are out of the room. Like if you kind of like see someone doing something and someone like has they them pronouns, like, you know, teaching someone about the pronouns when they're not in the room, it like can be really helpful. I've learned just doing things like small things like that, always being an ally.
Right. And then as we talked earlier, hard hat stickers on your hard hat at your desk, they will make the space safer for everybody. And so if you don't have one and you want to Gilbane one, you can get my email and I will mail you some. I have a whole bunch at my desk. Next slide. These are things that are a little bit harder to do. So Jackie, can you address the first one?
Yes, partnering with an LGBTQ plus owned firm on future projects. I am associating this, being associate of Build It. I've been introduced to many different LGBTQ plus firms, and I just feel way more comfortable doing business with them. I don't have to tone my voice down. I don't have to dull myself. You know, there's just certain things that I don't have to be so conscious of in doing business with them. And plus, I know that, you know, we are, you know, there's plenty of us out there and we need to be reached, you know. Since I was in the field and in the trades, like I said, I saw one or two hard hat stickers and that was on other females. But I know there's many other people out there in the trades that are having to hide their identity. And it's the same with contracting because of the historic folks that have excelled in it. You know, there's other firms. You know, there's LGBT. You know, I'm going to say we're like the best people to do business with at the end of the day. So partnering most definitely is one of them.
Right. Tracy, can you handle the next one?
Sure. You know, when companies want to understand, hey, you know, I want to support my employees, but I don't know how to do it. I don't know about policy, or, you know, maybe my firm is too small. You could hire a consultant to review your policies and make sure that they're inclusive. But if budget is an issue, you could model yourself after a company that is doing it and promotes it. I can speak for Gilbane because I'm a part of Gilbane, and we have done a phenomenal job at creating an inclusive policy. You know, I even shared it with my wife because I was like, look at this dynamic company that we work for, like that actually backs us up and cares about us because we had a child. And, you know, so even if that person if you don't know of anybody, you can contact us, Debbie or I. I'm volunteering Debbie, but you can definitely contact me, and we could open the conversation and tell you, some of the things that we've done. And I have to say the ERG has done an excellent job at making sure that we're staying on the up and up of keeping everybody included.
Okay, so if you want to hear me ramble on more about ERGs, you want some advice, I think they put my email in the chat. I encourage you, if you're an ally who's felt like there is not space for you in your company's Pride ERG, there is space for you. We need you. So please do that. And then Naseem, you want to hit the last bullet?
Absolutely, yeah. So create trainings, create toolbox talks around certain topics around gender expression and identity. A presentation on allyship is very important. How can you be the person to advocate for others with really easy ways, as mentioned earlier, when someone talks about someone, correct their pronouns for them. Just be that ally in the room. And those presentations you can find templates to recreate them online. You could check out resources to create them yourselves. And you could always reach out to us at AGC. We'd be happy to support in that process as well.
Okay, so before we move on, I'm just going to chime in that in terms of trainings and presentations, there are some nonprofit groups that we're going to list here that if you reach out to the local groups, they might do one for you. PFLAG is known for providing speakers for you to do a presentation. So I think Mercedes is going to scroll through these so you can get the QR codes. We won't talk about them. And because we're really running short, I think there might be one question in the chat that you get to choose, Mercedes, because we can't see it. No pressure.
Okay, so we are running out of time. So if you all will put a question in the chat, we will pick one at random, and then any of those other questions, I will make sure that we reach out to y'all and answer those after this webinar. So whoever is the first question at this point, if you want to go ahead and put it in there, we are going to go through all of these. And while we are waiting for a question in the chat, I just want to, again, thank you all for attending. We're so excited to be kicking this off. As I mentioned earlier, we are working on an allyship workshop or series. So we are hoping to get that kicked off soon. And if you want more information, I'm going to, in the chat, drop our link to our DEI sign up sheet. So question is going to be, are any of your organizations involved in fighting the injunction imposed on the DBE program?
Well, I know that I'm sure that Gilbane is not. I don't know if Build It is.
Build It is.
Okay.
Yeah, that's something that is detrimental to us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh.
I'm not sure about AGC if you would get involved in that. I know that impacts your community, Naseem.
Yeah, absolutely. So
supporting?
we're keeping an eye on it and watching it as it unfolds. We know that as at California will be when we might be having to follow suit on all this happening. So we're keeping an eye on it as well, and definitely working with Paul and the rest of Build It team to remain ready to respond.
Same with Build Out Alliance. We're not sure of what's to come in the strategy, but for right now, what we're holding on to is being supportive and reaching out to all organizations and trying to build community and share resources.
That's great. I know, I feel like starting Monday, it's a whole new world that for me is kind of terrifying. And it's part of the reason why we need to exist. These organizations need to exist to provide support as best we can to people in our industry. Mercedes, did you want to wrap it up? She disappeared. I don't know.
I see people hopping off, so I just want to say thank you all for joining
Okay.
before we lose anyone else. I just want to
Right.
thank you all. This was great. I'm happy to see the turnout, and hopefully we can continue this type of conversation with NAWIC.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very
Great.
much for having me.
Good
Reach out
seeing.
to us for anything.
Thanks, everybody.
Take care.
I'm not leaving the room because I want to read the chat. People were super active in the chat and I didn't get to see it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Bye,
I'm gonna-
everyone.
Debbie,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
Talk to you
Appreciate it.
soon.
Thank you, Jackie. I mean, you like hit a home run today. Really good job.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah.
Jackie, I got a question.
What's going on?
Wait,
How old's
Okay.
your turtle?
4 now.
Mine are
I had him,
26.
he was at, oh my gosh. I can't wait. I've had him since he was a quarter and I had no idea
Yeah.
about turtle care, but I've learned.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah. Awesome. 26. I have to,
I got drunk in Chinatown and woke up a mom.
oh yeah. Nice. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Well, is
okay.
it oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I can ask Tracy later.
You is it a red air slider or
Yep, they're 2 red-eared sliders, and recently I've had to separate them in the past 2 years. The boy started biting her, and to the point where like, I had to take them to the hospital back in 2020, and I was like, really? After 20 years, you guys started fighting?
right?
And you see turtles stack all the time, so I was like, are you lonely? And then the vet recently told me that they don't care. The women really don't want to be around the guys. And I was like, I can relate. So I separated
I
her.
know. It's just all the way around, huh? Right on.
Not all guys, but like, what I
Yeah. Okay. It
All right,
looks like,
thanks, folks. I'm gonna jump.
okay,
mean.
thanks.
Care.
So Mercedes, it looks like you lost your audio for a while. Are you still there?
Yes,
Thanks
I'm here.
again, Debbie. I'm gonna
I
hop.
was on my hotspot, so my internet went out at the end
It
there.
was nice to meet you all.
Yeah, you,
Mercedes, thank you for having us. If you need
Okay.
anything else or resources, or if I can help in any way, please let me know.
Well,
Love-
she's
I
got this.
appreciate you all.
love Yennecy over here, our chapter president.
Yeah, she's got they've got this resource group, right? I feel like when they start having stuff, we need to show up. So I guess the question I have for you, Mercedes, there's tons of stuff in the chat, and I'm afraid that if I like log out, I'm gonna lose it.
there's a
It's not, there was 2 to 3 questions. The chat was mainly just their responses to the things that so I will recording out along with all of the pages of resources to everyone who attended. And then I will include, if you guys are all fine with it, I will include your contact information, and I'll reach out to Tracy and Naseem about that as well, and that will go out to them. So we haven't missed anything. We're good.
Okay,
But I am
Okay,
gonna
great.
have Savannah close this because I have to go build.
okay, and I'm sorry we went so long. I was trying to go really fast. So.
Yeah, no, everybody has just great information and wanted to share a lot, so we just needed to condense.
No, I was
But
seeing
we
your
are
little
good.
chat thing. Yeah. Okay, we finished on time. All right. Bye.
Thank you, guys.
good
All
one.
right, Savannah, thank you.
Guys.